I'm excited to welcome on a top prospect in 2022, Percy Daniels. What's going on today, my guy?
What's up?
Not much, man. Well, I mean, you're kind of obviously going through everything else everyone else is in the sports world because of COVID effects, but you're sitting in a pretty good spot in terms of being known. You have some offers right now. Just take us through your offers you currently have.
All I have right now, I got Tulane, LSU, ULL, Grambling, Southern, Auburn called me, TCU called me. And, yeah, that's about it right now.
And let's talk about some of those schools. One of the big ones is you're a Louisiana guy. LSU gave you the offer. Just take us through what it was like to have the big school in your state offer you.
Oh man, LSU always been a dream school of mine growing up here in Baton Rouge. Um, they was actually the first school to call me. I talked to Coach Wade for a while. He texted me a lot too. So just having, knowing that the home school wants me, that made me pretty happy. And I feel good getting that offer.
What was your reaction when you found they were going to offer you?
He called me. I didn't know. I know a few schools calling me that day. I didn't know Coach Wade was calling me that day.
Mm.
But I was waiting on somebody else just said they was going to call me. So I was waiting for that call. And another number came. So I just answered and not knowing who it was. Ended up being Coach Wade. And I was surprised for a second. I was shocked because I didn't expect him to call me. It was like 7 in the morning. At this time, we was able to practice with the school. So I was getting ready to go to practice. He had called me. And I was surprised. It really brought me by shock because I didn't call me. Like I said, I was waiting on the coach from Tulane to call me. Waiting on that call, Coach Wade called me. While I was on the phone with Coach Wade, the coach from Tulane was calling me too. So,
And so now it's been about almost 2 months now. Coaches could start calling you. How busy have you been? What's it been like kind of having your phone low with all these colleges?
it really feels good though. Just recently, the only problem I've really been having is texting the coaches. Like, actually texting like how I should be texting professionally and how I text regular text. That's only been the only thing though, having to switch it up. But it's been like this what every high school dream of having coaches call them, text them. So,
And that is a big difference. Learning to talk to coaches, learn the professional wise. I mean, how you kind of learn, how you kind of adjusting to that now?
Well, growing up, I have friends. I have a friend who actually helps me go through that type of stuff. Like they prep me up, get me ready for it. Like they'd be like, talk to me like how would you talk to a coach? Text me like how you text your coach. Just like every now and then I do stuff like that.
And so you mentioned LSU, it's a big school. One thing about them though is we do know also they have had some stuff off the court, FBI wise. Does anything go through your mind when you see that?
Sometimes, but not too many times because it's like it's not often and stuff like that. Like a lot of that stuff just gonna still happen, and people gonna always be guessing like why that student went there. Like if a student go there, if a player go there and they're big or anything, they're gonna be like, why that player went there? They always question. Even with Zion Williamson going to Duke, like he's one of the best. He was the best player out of his class, and he went to one of the best schools. And they still question if he got paid.
And that's obviously a big thing. You mentioned another school that's offered you as well as Tulane. What's your relationship like with that program?
Tulane, I've actually since I think my ninth grade year, my freshman year, I had went down there for a summer league camp with my team, and I've been talking to the coach ever since then. The coach had got to know me. Percy is coaching at ULL, and then he went to Tulane. And he's been talking to me ever since. Our relationship pretty good. We got another player who went to Madison Prep, the high school I go to, that actually just transferred from Rhode Island to Tulane and been playing pretty good.
That's big time. You mentioned some schools that have interest in you as well. Another big school, though, is Grambling, an HBCU potential school. What do you like about that?
I actually think it's big what Michael Williams doing with the HBCUs getting players, to actually take interest into HBCUs. And I do believe it can bring a lot of money to HBCUs and bring them. Having Southern offer me is also a big deal. Having, another team in my backyard, to have offered me is big. My family go there. I have 2 cousins that go to Southern right now. And so, it's just nice to say, yeah, your school, I got an offer from Southern where she goes. It's just nice to have that. And also Grambling, I know one of my teachers went to Graham, and all her kids go to Graham, her husband go to Graham. So like when she found out, she gave me a big congratulations on that offer.
And when you see a guy like Schumaker be the first 5-star to commit there, how much more appealing does that make a HBCU school for you now?
It's still big, even with him going there, because it shows that Michael Williams said it, but he just going to his sophomore year. But he goes somebody who actually going there. Like, that's made it even different, because like, all right, a big time dude going there, and then it's Howard too. So a lot of people gonna be looking like, yeah, that's big, that's nice too, and where they at, Howard, big, nice school. But then they got other schools down here, Southern schools too, that's real nice. So that him going there is, I think, gonna be a real big impact on not just me but other players too. Against him too, though, not just going there, but being able to compete against him and stuff like that. A lot of players should look into that type of stuff too.
And so if we go back to the beginning of the year, even last year, wasn't HBCU as appealing as it is now to you a few months ago before Schumaker went there and before this movement started happening?
Well, it was. Yeah, I always had to talk about going to HBCU, definitely Southern. One of the assistant coaches at our school just graduated from Southern like 2 years ago. He's always working with us, and so it was always a thought on my family.
Gotcha.
They'd love to see me go and play at Southern, but so I always have been a choice.
And as you mentioned earlier, you think it's going to obviously be a movement. I think a lot of guys really to start considering or even going to HBCU. How many kids do you think in your class of 2021 will actually consider or possibly even go to an HBCU?
I do think a lot of players are going to be considering HBCUs because of the movement. And not only that, because just for inference, people like going to Ole Miss, them been the Rebels. A lot of people going to take that into consideration. But then they still got coaches like Coach K and the coach over at Duke. Coaches like that, like people still going to want to play for schools and coaches. Those guys still too, though. But also people going to want to go play for HBCUs. Also, I can see a lot of players going to play for HBCUs.
Absolutely. And you mentioned some of the schools that have shown interest in you. Other schools that have yet to give you the offer but are still showing a lot of interest in you. Who do you think is the closest to giving you the offer at this point?
Probably Auburn. Most of the schools I named, they already offered me. The only school that haven't offered me to call me was Auburn. That was it. But I'm pretty sure the coach texts me a lot, calls every now and then. He texts me a lot, make sure I'm good. He actually wanted to come to a game, but then it ended up talking about we're not probably gonna be playing till phase 4, so that's probably not gonna be till either December, January, maybe. But,
and Auburn's a big-time program. Coach Pearl's made that program something that's not just a decent Power 5. He's made it to an elite powerhouse school now, pulling in top recruits. How much more appealing is Auburn seeing the way that they've been playing the past couple of years?
Auburn that's very good. Sharif Cooper going there. If he be there for 2-3 years, then going there with really, if he's still there, me going there could be an impact too. Because I always like playing with a good point guard because of my style of play. I like to be in the post, my post moves. I like to touch. I like be down there. So if I got a good point guard that can drive to the rack and dish it off, or even throw the ball in there, having a good point guard will also be a good.
Couldn't agree more. And the other school we haven't talked about yet is TCU, a Big 12 school, once again a Power 5 school. What do you like about Coach Dixon and that staff?
I like the staff. They when he called me, I can just tell that he like my playing style. He had just called me. He was like, he had said, he called me. He said, I just watched your film. As soon as it got over, I had to call him. Man, we got to get this guy here. We had a good conversation, about 20, 25 minutes conversation. And how he was just on the phone, he was very energetic. Like he was excited to be talking to me. And that really, boosted up, the chances of me going there too. And also I like Texas. I love Texas schools in the state of Texas.
And if a school's trying to land you, what's your advice to a school? How are they going to land you? What's the things you're looking for in a college? What do you want the coaching staff to be like? Just kind of about what your dream college would look like and all the pieces about them.
In my dream college, for the coaching staff, the part of be having coaches that are that's going to allow me to play my game. A lot of coaches like to automatically just post up 24/7. Then there are other coaches that be like, shoot the three, shoot the mid range all day. Like, I like coach. I'm very versatile with my game style. I can post up, I can pop out for the mid range for the three, all that. Like, I don't want no coach that gonna just make me do one thing.
Absolutely. And is there anyone you've talked to about the idea of teaming up with and that you'd really enjoy playing with in college?
That's not really, not right now.
Gotcha. And you're in the state of Louisiana, which obviously has had a lot of great talent. We see guys obviously like Jalen Cook in the senior class, a lot of young guys up and coming. What's it like playing in Louisiana?
Another person, Jalen Cook, me and Jalen Cook were cool. We went to the camp at IMG together. And another player named Joe from Cranco. And Jalen Cook, I went to the camp with Jalen Cook too. He was playing against him real fun. Definitely when we was at Walker, when I played against him at Walker, played against him at Madison Prep too. It was real fun. It was a real exciting game because I played with last year, which was sophomore year. Played with the sophomore on their team, Donald Butler. He played with our AAU team, Louisiana Elite. So playing against them was real cool. And playing against Skylandville, they had room going to Virginia. He playing against them was real good. And they had Scooter with them too. So, and then we played at the community school, Baton Rouge Community's gym. Yeah, it was just live playing that. Had whole Baton Rouge there. A real good game.
And you mentioned two big-time guys, Jalen Cook, Reese Beekman. I'm sure you also play a lot of other big-time players. Who's your favorite guy to match up with?
Probably Skylandville and Reese, because it's always a good game. We never had it's never a quiet moment. It's never, it's never okay. It's always, we always going at it. It's never a time where the game dull, quiet, everybody going at it 24/7, head to head, the whole game. Like, even before the game even started, 2-3 days before, we on Instagram, we talking. Our coach's son actually knows some of the players over that sudden. So even days before the game, talking trash, just stuff like that. Like, everybody, we know each other. So even before the game, we talking trash, stuff like that. So that right there would make the game even better.
And you mentioned earlier playing with Louisiana Elite. Why did you choose to run with them?
Our head coach at Madison Prep, Coach Jeff Jones, he run the organization. Him and the coach Kimber from New Orleans, they kind of run the organization. So it was just supposed to be there. But I ended up playing with Louisiana Elite my 9th grade year. It was my sophomore year, so and this year delayed if we even play. But playing with them, my class here, I think we played pretty good last year. We had Jalen Williams, we had John Paul, we had Donald Butler, we had a few people from across the river play with us. Playing with Louisiana, I think it's been on that circuit, Under Armour circuit, gave me a lot of opportunities. I talked to a few coaches there. And I could, because being the 9th grader, they still didn't really let us talk then. But I still got the experience, though. The experience was still good. And the experience was good. And the players I played against, I played a lot of players who I think, like, with other teams from Louisiana. I played at the Dallas Showtime. It was really good. Had a good game against them. And a few other teams played against that was real good on the circuit. But the thing was, we were playing against all them big-time name teams, and we was winning. Like, we was winning almost every game. We probably lost 3 games. Probably played like 12, probably like 12 for 3. And that would really made me like that team. I really like playing with Louisiana Elite. And then even at practice be 4 or 5 hours of us playing against the older guys. And they also had some good players too. They had Jalen Cook over from EA, some other big dudes from up north Louisiana, played against a lot of those. So playing for Louisiana Elite was real fun. Made it real easy. It was a real easy choice for me to play there.
That's awesome. Let's talk about your high school season. You're at Madison Prep, and you had a big-time breakout year this year, but let's talk about your freshman year first of all. I mean, the team was a state championship team. You were hurt a lot of the year. Take us through how your freshman year was and kind of how you rehab from your injury.
Well, for my freshman year, I went to CSAT. CSAT is connected to Madison Prep. So my eighth grade year, I ended up finding out that I was gonna be playing varsity. And from right there, I was like, if I'm playing varsity, I'm going to start. I was already one of the biggest dudes at the school. I'm going to be on the team. So I was like, if I'm going to play varsity, I might as well try to start. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I found out I was going to play varsity, I went to work from right there. Because us having summer league here, we had went across the river. I don't really remember where we went, but we had played somewhere. And I like, well, this is the time for me to show the coach that I'm really ready to start varsity. So it was a summer league game against another big team. And I think I went for like 12, 10 boards, 7 blocks, first game. And I just feel like I just got comfortable from right there. Like, I can really do this. Everybody on the team hyping me up. We had the senior, James Spencer, who really helped me through my 9th grade year. Like, getting me comfortable. I know I had somebody I could rely on. Like, if I needed help, or if I would rebound, like, I know I ain't got to kill myself to get a rebound because I know I got another teammate that's going to crash the boards too. And I know somebody going to be always in the corner too because he always knew me and him had a real good connection my 9th grade year, which was in his senior. And going into the season, I was still kind of nervous, even though I was still comfortable from summer league, but I was still nervous. Mm-hmm. But I think I worked through it though. Going into my 9th grade year, I feel like I had a little pressure. I mean, I had too much pressure on me just being a freshman and having just great seniors that I had that year. And just being able to work with those guys, I was really comfortable. But then I didn't get hurt till I got hurt in the middle of the year with a back injury. But it wasn't too bad. I just had to isolate a bit. I missed one game. I think I missed 1 or 2 games. That was really it. But then when I even came back, I was still straight. Even when we played against one of the best players, the number 1 player in the state at that time, I think I still had like 10 points, 12 rebounds, a few blocks. And that was right back from off my injury. Was missing our junior other big, which was a junior, Jordan Johnson. We was missing him too. So I feel like I had to step up big that game too, with rebounds and blocks. And then came playoffs. I was averaging a double-double when playoffs came. I was averaging a double-double. I was averaging 10 points, 10 rebounds, almost 10 blocks. I had like 5 blocks a game. And then we were getting practice. We were ready for practice going to the dome. And I ended up getting hurt, ankle sprain at practice going 2 on 3, then 3 on 1. I was the one getting back. I went to go and block a shot and came down on my ankle bad. Bruised up real bad. So I wanted to play. Yeah, I tried to convince the coach to let me play. But my ankle ended up turning purple, all kind of stuff. I had to go to rehab for a good while. But then I ain't played our first game back during that summer for AAU, which was Louisiana League. My 9th grade, I ain't played that much coming back first. But then when I did come back, that's when we really started playing on the circuit and stuff. Now I feel like that really helped me a lot playing back, like coming straight back to playing, not really resting it. Really, I just came back, so I feel like it got me stronger. And plus, I was still going to rehab, and then we were starting summer league practice too. Right after the champion, and we won the championship that year. So right after that, we ended up coming right back to summer league a month later. And then my sophomore year came, and I felt myself. Felt like I had to grow up quick, being that our seniors was pretty good, but in this year I'm a sophomore. I feel like I got to do more. And then coach gave me a good talk saying that I got to grow up. This year I'm going to have to actually play better than what I did last year. And that's going to be a lot for me to do. So just being able to grow quick was real good for me. There's a quote that I have is, if you're quicker to make the adjustment, you're going to be successful. If you're quick to make the adjustment, you're going to be quick to success. Because if you can't make the adjustment to something, then you're going to be stuck. But if you can make the adjustment, you're going to be good. So I had to make the adjustment quick. And I think I did that come towards when we had the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. That's when I had come back to reality. And like, yeah, I got to take over. I end up having, I think, like 15 points, 12 rebounds, a few blocks against another big who in the class of 23, I think. He was a freshman, pretty big. Ended up having 15 points, like 15 boards too, probably like 10 blocks. Had a good game against them. And then the next day we had another game that morning. Ended up playing real good. Yeah, our coach ended up playing a different five. And we still ended up blowing them out by a good blowing. Then after that, it was just up from there. I ended up averaging like 14 points, few out of 10 rebounds. I think I had more blocks than they said. I think they said like 7 blocks, but I think I averaged more blocks than that. And ended up winning MVP of the district. And we ended up going to the playoffs. I think we were the third seed. We were the third seed into the playoffs. And we was up by 15, I think, at half. Came back out, had about 4 straight back turnovers. And game came to one shot, and they ended up hitting a floater down the lane. They ended in the season for us. Right, the day after that, we had to go to school, so we only went to school for 2 days. And the pandemic, we ended up going to lockdown, shutting school down 2 days right after that.
And you mentioned yourself as being a shot blocker. As you said, I mean, they have you right around 7 blocks a game. You are an elite shot blocker, something not a lot of guys can do. How did you kind of learn to develop and become such an elite shot blocker?
Well, when I first started playing basketball in my 6th grade, my 5th grade year, when I first started playing basketball, my 5th grade year, that's what I was told. I got in the game, and coach told me, I just need you to block shots. That's all I need you to do. Just block every shot that goes to the goal. So like, okay, that's all I got to do. So I got in the game. That's all I was doing. And then I got to my 6th grade year, and they telling me I need to scope. So I already had the shot block, and all I got to do is scope. And then rebounding. Well, at first rebounding was just automatic because I was always the biggest person on the court. So this rebounding, and blocking shots became natural. But then the scoring part came. I worked my whole 7th grade year. My whole 7th grade year of middle school, I worked on my scoring. My post moves was watching Shaq, Hakeem, Tim Duncan. Was watching a lot of bigs, watching their moves. Actually, yeah, it really helped me develop my blocking shots. And playing 2K with Shaq, seeing how he was just blocking shots, was blocking everything that came toward the rim.
And so for your upcoming season, what do you think you can possibly average? What's kind of your goal you set for yourself to average next year?
This year, I was told by one of my coaches, you don't play like a college player when you get to college. You're not going to play like a high school. You don't play like a high school player when you're in high school. If you want to go to college, you got to play like a college player in high school. When you want to go to the NBA, you got to play like an NBA player in college. It is if you want to make it all the way to the NBA, which I do. So being like that, I want to average at least in college. So like if I can go to college and play good enough to go to the league, I should be able to average 20 points, 15 rebounds, at least 10 blocks in high school if I want to go to college and play at the elite level and play big-time minutes. So I feel like I should be averaging at least 18 to 20 points, probably 12 to 15 rebounds, most definitely 10 blocks, at the least 10 blocks, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a quote earlier. Just take us through when you first started learning that quote and how you've kind of applied that to your life.
The quickest to make the adjustment, the quickest to success. I made that when my 10th grade year, because I didn't like. Main thing was one of our main priorities was getting me the ball in the post. In my 9th grade year, that wasn't the case because we had our UAB commit senior who keeps going off at 30 almost every game. So I ain't had it. All I had to do was rebound, get put back. So if he dished it off to me, that was it. But then my 10th grade year came, and it was get the ball to Percy, get the ball to Percy, get the ball to Percy. So I had to make the adjustment. Like, man, I got to get the ball. I should be trying to score every possession, getting rebounds, getting blocks. And then I think we ended up we had lost against some team. And we had like a big team meet. And the coach pointed out 3 players And I was one of them. The other two were seniors. We had 5 seniors, so it's like, man, that's a lot of pressure. So I got to make the adjustment. If I want to be successful, I got to make the adjustment, get the ball. And then a lot of teams try to play me physical, so they try to push me out. So I had to learn moves from when they pushing me out. And ref not calling nothing, so I got to learn how to do moves from there, opening up, getting a J, probably stepping out for a 3. I've been working on that a lot too. And just doing stuff like that, just making an adjustment so you can be successful. Because that's the only way you're going to be successful. You sticking to what you're doing and things changing. You're not going to be able to be successful to the new things.
Absolutely, man. My last thing before I let you go is when you talk about building a legacy for yourself, both on the court and what you do back for your community someday, when you walk away from the game someday, what do you want that legacy to be?
Oh, man, I want my legacy to be that he's always been humble. I don't ever want people to be like, oh, he done did this and did that, now he think he all that. I don't ever want people to think of that of me. Like, I always come back to my neighborhood. I always wanted to give back to my neighborhood. Like, even with me going to a different school than my neighborhood, a lot of people was thinking, he think he too big and all that. But that's not really the case. The case is for me to get to a better place that my neighborhood can provide for me. So being that person, I want people to know that my neighborhood made me. My neighborhood made me tough. My neighborhood made me want to be successful. If I was already just living in a big, nice neighborhood, where else did I want to go? So I don't ever want people thinking like I never gave back. So I most definitely, if I make it to lead, I'm most definitely going to give back to my neighborhood because they helped me make it. Not like they did anything like that, but they made me want to make it. They made me want to make it. So, of course, I want to give back. So I always want people to know me as a good, humble guy because I never want to be – I feel like if you start not being humble, you start getting a big head, that would things start going bad for you. So I always want people to know me as a humble guy, respectful.
Without doubt, man. Well, I'm definitely excited to see what God got next for you, man, and I appreciate you taking time to come on, bro.
No problem. I appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
For sure.